bigotry, hate crimes, vandalism. Finally, time for part one. I know you guys have been waiting for it. I need to preface this by saying we're going to show videos. You can form your own conclusions. We formed our own. This is our truly held opinions. I'll tell you what I think happened. You could watch the videos, decide for yourself. We'd done All Hallows Fair the previous year, loved it. Same management team, same location. We had requested November 9th via email that we be put in the same location. It was flat, it was near a bathroom for me. Everything was great. So we showed up on Thursday for load-in. We're completely on the other side of the fairground from any restrooms. We called for management, tried to explain the situation, explained that I was disabled. She was so condescending and like, you have joint pain and everything made me feel like I had to validate for her that I was disabled. So I literally lifted my shirt to show her the bottom, of my scars. And she went, well, I can't do anything for you. At first, she was unwilling to even look to move us. Eventually, she agreed to go look and see if she could find us a spot. She came back immediately, said she found a spot. It was in the back 40, like back in the storage area up a huge hill. The bathroom that she said was close was still far away, disgusting, broken down, not ADA accessible, no ADA toilets. I was in there losing it completely, emotional. Called my sister, who happens to be a lawyer, but called her just because she's my sister, venting to her. She has stage 4 breast cancer. She goes around the world advocating for people with disabilities, specifically breast cancer. So I called her, losing it. She ended up calling. I thought her name was Lisa at the time. It turns out her name is Lissa. She called Lissa, the person who I'd been dealing with, told her what was going on, that we're really unhappy. We're not going to get any foot traffic. I'm feeling like a liability. So I travel with Bob because he's my caretaker. I cannot take care of myself. I am disabled. So I was traveling there with him, etc. So we tried to approach her very nicely and say, hey, sorry, this spot, it's going to be really challenging. I don't even think I could make it to him from the bathroom. We were the entire fairgrounds away from the nearest bathroom, most of which was uphill. She again said she wouldn't do anything for us. Eventually, she takes us to this back out of the way spot. I lost it, called my sister. My sister reached out to Lissa. Lissa talked to her on the phone and then came, was like, and before she left the first time, I was trying to explain to her, like, I'm worried about this location. Like, this is weird. We're not even in the fair, really. And she's like, I have more important things to do, and took off. So after all the breakdown, she shows back up. She's like, you're still not happy with your spot? I was like, well, I'm concerned about blah, blah. Well, we have 12,000 people that attend our fair, but I'll go show you why you can't be anywhere else. Drove me all over the place, showing me all these ADA bathrooms that she couldn't put me anywhere near. Finally, then she was saying, like, there was this one open spot that people had been vending out before at Calaveras, or at the All Hallows Festival. She told us we couldn't have those because it's a fire lane. Then she backtracked that and said other reasons. I'll go more into detail. I have to make this one shorter. I've recorded this a couple times. I keep going over time. So anyway, she eventually came to this one spot, which was a huge hill, and was like, well, all my longtime vendors, they have these spots. I can't ask any of them to move. I can't ask food vendors to move because they have to be on pavement, even though they were on gravel up by us. And some of them had like sealed foods. It wasn't even foods. But anyways, all these reasons, she could not possibly give us a spot anywhere near a restroom, especially one with ADA accessibility or grab bar, anything. So eventually we drive by this spot and she's like, I can't give you this one because it's for somebody that comes back year after year. But I mean, you can't even set up on it anyway, right? And I was like, well, you could ask Bob. Maybe he could, like, if you're willing to. And so she drove Bob over there. Long story short, we end up back at that spot. Bob had to repack everything he'd started unpacking up on the hill away from the fair. We get set up there. We go back to the hotel. He wasn't even fully set up. He was exhausted. It was like a 3-4 hour process to just get us to our spot. The next morning we come in, 7 a.m. as soon as they open the gates, because again, he wasn't even fully set up. So we go in. We have to go the entire length of the fairground and hook around to get back to where his spot was. All the other tents, perfect condition, none blown over, no damage whatsoever. We get to our tent. Our tent is off. I'll show pictures and videos. I documented all of it. It looks as if, and again, opinion, because I wasn't there, but it looks as if our tent was manually lowered, lifted off of our items. Some of our items were rummaged through, damaged, thrown around, broken, etc. So we, call management like, hey, looks like our tent space was vandalized. This doesn't make sense. A very nice gentleman who had turned out his name was Jay. Turns out he's the son of the husband and wife team who managed, which I did not know at the time. He was super nice. I was explaining to him, it doesn't look like wind damage. Like, here's all the reasons why, and I'll go through all those in the videos with you later. Um, I'm 99 point. There's no possible way that what they said happened. You'll see it in the videos. It's impossible. So I do believe it was vandalized. I don't know by who, but I have my suspicions. Um, so anyways, we're talking to him. A golf cart pulls up, and this guy I've never seen, I don't think, is like, your tent blew over in the wind. I was like, no, I think it was vandalized. He literally jumps out of his golf cart, runs up into my face, and says, no, you pack your S and get the F out. I was like, whoa, Bob, start recording. I started recording, so you will see that recording. It's about half an hour long, so I have to chop it so I can upload it. But he's in my face, and he's like, lady, lady. And I was like, hold on, don't misgender me, please. I'm not a lady. Whatever. You're born with the bitch you're born with. He doubles down on that statement completely, calls me an effing liar, says effing some kind of slur is my belief. I couldn't really hear what he said, but he said something awful and took off eventually. Lissa had come up, which turns out that's his wife. He had failed to identify himself, refused to identify himself, etc. Was completely crazy. You'll see the video. I was terrified. Luckily, Lissa came up. She was being more reasonable. She's literally spent like 4 or 5 minutes. I don't know. We'll have to review the video, but minutes and minutes trying to convince him to leave. While he's still yelling at me, while he's still saying stuff about me, he's misgendering me. As soon as she walked up, I told her what had happened. Like, this gentleman misgendered me, said he didn't care, said I was born with what I was born with, etc. Doubled down on it. He misgenders me continuously after that, saying she's a effing liar, she's a this, she's a that. Lissa does the same thing. She this, she that. Don't worry, we had her sign the liability form, so we're not going to be liable. All this shady stuff. So eventually, after all that, the guy leaves. At this point, I'm like emotional wreck, doubled over, sobbing. You'll see all of that. Jay is there, their son, who is so ashamed of what they're doing. You could see it on his face. I even mentioned it in the video. So what ended up happening after that, we ended up deciding that I didn't feel safe. I was losing it, scared. I went and sat in the car way, way far away in the parking lot for the entire day until whatever the close down time was. Bob had a somewhat of a setup, halfway setup, whatever wasn't broken. We didn't have our tent. They said they were going to come help us put our tent back on. They didn't. So I'm in the parking lot by myself the rest of the day, me, a disabled person. Didn't even think about the fact that then I was really far from the bathrooms. I ended up urinating myself. Oh, I documented everything for you guys. You get to go on the whole beautiful journey. Bottom line, we felt so unsafe and uncomfortable, we didn't want to continue, and nor did we want to continue supporting the fair, which, in our opinion, what I believe happened, Alyssa made a lot of weird mentions at the beginning, like right after we got moved to the second spot. When she came back after my sister had called her, she said, oh, well, even though she was really busy doing all these super busy things she had to do, she stopped to check all the emails and check and make sure what vendor forms we'd turned in and whatever else, which I thought was a really weird comment to make until later when this gentleman said, I was here when your tent blew away, like as he's yelling and screaming at me. It's on the video. And then as soon as I was like, well, maybe you're the one that vandalized it then. Like, you're her husband. You're saying magically you were right here when my tent blew away. All of a sudden he backtracks. No, I wasn't right here. I wasn't right here. And then with her coming up, like, remember they filled out the forms, leads me to believe, again, opinion, that maybe she checked the forms to make sure that we had filled out the liability portion so that they could, in fact, violate and vandalize our tent as a hate crime. I think she thinks I'm trans and that that's why I have the scars that I showed her and that I'm just pretending to be disabled. That's my belief. I think that triggered her. I think then she talked to her husband. They made the agreement to vandalize our property. The gentleman came up, threatened me. At the end of it, we didn't feel safe. We packed up, we left. We did receive a refund for our table fee. I have reached out. The gentleman who runs everything, you could find his contact info on the Calaveras Celtic Festival website if you wanted to reach out. I reached out on Saturday, I think it was, so 4 days ago, something like that. Told him very briefly, what had happened, what the concerns were, and that I'd like to discuss it with him, and haven't heard anything back. So after this, I'll be posting all the chopped up videos. I may or may not put some little videos in between to kind of explain what was happening right before I started recording, etc., to make it all make sense. I'll do it in chronological order. Follow along. Check it out. This is part 1. I don't know how many parts there'll be, but I'm going to let you guys see all of it, the good, the bad, and ugly, and you make up your own opinion. That's just ours.